Welcome back. Today we are making gluten-free, dairy-free onion rings. So what we're going to do here, I've got my oil already to temperature. I have my mise en place station here, so I've got breadcrumbs. I have a shallow dish that my cornstarch is going to go into. I've got my egg, my water, my gluten-free flour blend. I'm using the same potato rice starch flour blend that I used for my gluten-free pasta. I've got some xanthan gum to add into my flour, and I also have some baking powder. And then I have my sliced onion rings, as well as my onion powder, salt, black pepper, and paprika. That's going to go into my batter as well. So my oil is to the temperature that I want it to, so I'm going to make my batter. So my recipe tells me that I'm going to mix together my dry ingredients. So I've got my flour, my xanthan gum, baking powder. My coffee is ready. All right, so I've just added my baking powder into here. I'm going to add my salt, my garlic powder, black pepper, and paprika. And I'm just going to give that a quick whisk here. Okay, so that's incorporated nicely. The other thing that I have ready for when I start to cook is a baking tray with a wire rack on top of it so that I can put my onion rings onto there and the oil can drip off of it, and I can sprinkle some salt on it as well too. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to whisk together my water and my egg. Alrighty, so that is incorporated. And I'm just going to add my wet ingredients to my dry ingredients. And I'm going to give that a mix. This batter is going to be more on the runny side. I don't like a really thick batter on my onion rings. So it'll just be nice and light. It's got a great color as well, just from the spices, especially the paprika. Sometimes gluten-free foods can come out a little lighter than gluten foods, just because of the Maillard process that doesn't happen sometimes in the same capacity. All right, so this is what my batter looks like here. It's got a really nice color. So we're ready to go with that. I'm going to put my cornstarch into this pie plate that I have here so that I can dredge my onion rings with that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dredge my onion rings in this corn flour here. That's going to make the wet batter stick to it, and then I'm going to finish with my breadcrumb. The other thing that you want to try and do is have a wet hand versus a dry hand. So what I will do is my left hand is going to be my dry hand and my right hand is going to be my wet hand. And as I go through the process, it will keep me from getting too much gunk on my fingers. I'm gonna get some, and I also want to on purpose so that I can drop things into my oil and have it, my fingers be protected by the batter. So I've got my onion rings dredged here, And now I'm just gonna take them and I'm gonna switch my hand and I'm going to put them through my batter. So my batter's stuck really nicely to it. And then I'm going to finish them, switch my hands again, and cover them with some breadcrumbs. Okay. And so I have my first onion ring that is ready to drop. So let's drop this in the oil and see how it does. I'm gonna keep going and I'm going to continue adding them. I will cook these for about 1 to 2 minutes per side, and then I'll flip them, and then I'll put them straight onto my drying rack. And my oil is heated to 375 degrees. The other thing that I have is my wire strainer so that I can remove everything safely from the oil. Okay, so this is ready to come off. It feels really nice and crispy, and it's a beautiful golden brown. So I'm going to put that on my drip rack here, and then I'm just going to sprinkle some salt on it as it is still moist with oil so that that salt will stay in my onion ring. So I've tried my first onion ring and it's a little too much breadcrumb. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to take my corn-floured onion ring with my dry hand, saving my wet hand to pick it up out of my wet batter. So I'm going to place it in there, and then I'm going to just flip it a few times to get it wet with that batter. So that has done that. I'm going to place it in, and then I'm going to just do one side of the onion ring with the breadcrumbs, and I'm going to try it like that. All right, so I've got some onion rings that are ready to come out of the oil here. So I'm just going to use my wire basket tool to get them out. I'm going to let some of the oil drip off, and then I'm going to transfer them directly onto this tray that I have here. I'm halfway through my cook here. I'm flipping my onion rings over to the other side, and I'm going to let them cook the rest of the way. All right, so I finished frying all of them off. These are our finished onion rings. They look absolutely delicious. I've made 2 different garnish sauces here. One is mayo Dijon sauce, and then the other one is like a smoky barbecue spicy paprika sauce. So let's try them. Really nice. The onion rings are nice and crispy. I've got lemon juice in both of these garnishes here, so it has a really nice light flavor to it. Let's try the other one. Delicious. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Make yourself some onion rings.